adjust a little bit so you can't see my messy kitchen. Hi, I'm Caitlin, in case you didn't know. I'm gonna hold off on starting for a few minutes. We'll see who pops on, but we're gonna be talking about FODMAPs today, and we'll get into what that is if you don't know what it is. So we're gonna hang out for a few minutes. I'm just gonna start to prep. I'm making 2 recipes today. If you're not on a low FODMAP diet, might just give you some recipe inspiration. So we're gonna hold off for a minute and we'll get started. I'll just chop up some of our things. So we're working with tuna and salmon today. Both canned. Well, the salmon is in a little packet like this. I like to use these because there's no bones or skin in there, so less to pick out. But, okay, let's see. Did I start cutting this? I did. Got the one that was marked ripe, but if you don't know how to check for your avocados, give it a gentle squeeze. Should be, should have some give, but not too much. And then something I like to do is pop that little stem off, and if it's green underneath, I don't know if you can see that, it's ripe. If it's brown, then it's most likely going to be overripe. Okay, I'm going to cut this up. So Claire and I were attempting to get us both on here yesterday. I don't know if you saw us being live separately, but we couldn't figure it out, which is a bummer. So one day we'll be back together again. Okay, just gonna get a little bit of avocado for this recipe. Okay. I've got a few people on. Hello, everyone. Okay. So, we're talking FODMAPs today. We've been focusing on gut health this month. I don't know if you noticed, but most of our social media postings have been about digestion. And sometimes people who are struggling with IBS are told to try a low FODMAP diet. And a lot of people are like, what the heck is a FODMAP? And in fact, I'm going to read what it is because I always jumble up the words. But FODMAP stands for fermentable, oligo, di, and monosaccharides and polyols, which, what does that mean? They're basically carbohydrates in certain foods that are not really digested well. They're actually fermented. And when we have fermentation, we have kind of this gas production, thus bloating, discomfort. So some people don't tolerate these types of foods. And so the goal of the low FODMAP diet is not for you to be on a low FODMAP diet forever. The goal is to figure out what kind of trigger foods are causing your symptoms. And also, while you're reducing those symptoms, you're also healing the gut. So low FODMAPs isn't really the answer. It's not a long-term diet, but it does help reduce your symptoms, help you figure out your trigger foods, while also working with your dietitian to heal your gut. So from a healing your gut standpoint, something that applies to everyone, not just people with IBS, is anti-inflammatory foods. So if you are amping up your fatty fish, for example, you're going to be eating more anti-inflammatory foods because those omega-3 fatty acids that are in fish, DHA and EPA, are going to help fight inflammation. So that's really good for your gut, regardless of IBS. So that's why we're doing tuna salad and salmon salad lettuce wraps. Up on the blog yesterday was our 10 low FODMAP lunch ideas, because sometimes food can get a little boring and you just need a little inspiration, especially on a low FODMAP diet. So one of the things that can be really tricky with low FODMAPs is like onions and garlic are considered high FODMAP. So when you're doing the low FODMAP diet, you need to eliminate those for a period of time. And then wheat, so gluten products, bread, wraps, a lot of things that people tend to go to for lunches. Not all bread, but regular bread. And so it can just be hard to figure out what to eat. So we're gonna make a tuna salad, which you can put onto bread, gluten-free bread. You can eat it with gluten-free crackers. And then also a salmon salad that's got more of an Asian-y flair, that's served in little lettuce cups. And so we'll go ahead and get started on that, and I'll just kind of chat while we're preparing. So let's start with the tuna salad. So a lot of times tuna salad, like prepared, can contain onions and garlic. That's really the issue there. So making your own kind of helps with that, or does help with that. So we're going to be doing not a mayonnaise-based tuna salad. Again, I'm gonna think about anti-inflammatory. So we're gonna do an olive oil, lemon juice-based tuna salad. So I already have a can of tuna. I've got it out of the can just to save some time. I'm gonna mash it a little bit with a fork just to get it nice and fine. Okay. Good. Okay, so we got our tuna. Now things like proteins like meat, chicken, fish, is not going to register on like the FODMAP scale because it doesn't have those sugars. It's mostly gonna be your carbohydrate foods like fruits, vegetables, and grains, and dairy that are gonna be likely to have these types of carbohydrates in them. Okay, tuna is all ground up. All right, so the flavor of this is gonna just use some herbs, some olive oil, some lemon juice for a little brightness. I picked a little bit of basil from my garden outside. It's just getting started, so I didn't get a ton. I don't want naked basil out there, but I'm gonna give it a chop. I have like 9 little basil plants out there. One of them already died because I'm impatient and I planted them right before that little cold spell that we had recently. Okay. All right, basil is done. I'm just gonna throw that in the bowl. And then celery, sad little pieces of celery. 1 stalk of celery. My husband actually got wings recently and they gave us celery. So I'm using that up. No waste, right? Okay. I don't like huge chunks of veggies in my tuna salad, so I'm gonna do a pretty fine dice. I gotta make sure I got the claw so I don't chop my little fingertips off. Something I learned in food science class. When you're chopping something, keep your fingers like this. Don't want to lose a fingertip. Okay, that's a lot of celery. Don't think I'm going to do all of it. Another tip, just in case you were interested, when you're going to take something off of the cutting board, you don't want to use your knife to scrape it off. Sometimes I'll do it with the back of the knife because it's going to dull your blade. We don't want dull knives because dull knives are dangerous. Okay, got some celery. Now, one of the things that we can get around with like onion kind of flavors is with scallions. So the green part is considered low FODMAP. So I'm gonna give that a fine little dice. Even if you aren't following a low FODMAP diet, doing something that's just a little different is nice. So away from your typical tuna salad with mayo, doing something a little bit fresher. It's nice in spring. Okay, I'm gonna throw in the scallion greens. Okay, and now we need a little bit of moisture so that it doesn't dry tuna. So we're going to use olive oil. Little drizzle. I'm totally eyeballing it. And then a little bit of, looking at my recipe, lemon juice. I already squeezed it, again, to save time. So lemon juice going in. If you're not concerned about like hypertension or heart health as much, a little pinch of kosher salt. The tuna did have some sodium in it, so you don't necessarily need a lot of salt. And then I like a lot of black pepper. I'm gonna give it a bunch of fresh cracked pepper and mix it up. Yum. Okay, so we have two options for our tuna salad here. We could either have it over bread. So I do have some gluten-free bread here, or you can serve it with some gluten-free crackers, or both, whatever your fancy. I'm gonna make a sandwich. I'm running out of space. Okay, just gonna pile some on here. This bread is so little. I don't know why. Okay, so this has been toasted. A lot of gluten-free breads are in the freezer section if you're struggling to find it. So gotta toast it up. And we have a tuna sandwich. See, sandwiches can exist on the low FODMAP diet. And then I paired it with a low FODMAP fruit, blueberries, strawberries, clementine, something like that should be good. Bananas, also okay. So the interesting thing about FODMAPs is also the ripeness is going to affect how high or low in FODMAPs it is. So you don't want something that's super ripe or even super unripe. You want it kind of right in the middle, that sweet spot. So I grabbed a banana, actually cut it in half earlier. That's just, you know, just right. So too much brown, probably gonna be not ideal. Okay, so tuna sandwich is done. Let's move on to the salmon. All right. Oops, I did what I just told you not to do. Don't scrape your knife on the cutting board. Okay, so this goes into kind of dosage. The amount of food that you eat also impacts the FODMAPs. So something like avocado, it's low FODMAP or moderate FODMAP if you eat less than 1/8. So this recipe is using 1/8 of an avocado. So I just cut it into little slivers and I'm gonna take that 1/8. Okay. I'm gonna mash it. This is part of you know, the fat of the, make it a little creamy. So this one's more Asian inspired. Now with FODMAP, some people are afraid of soy, and soy is a little bit confusing. But you can incorporate some soy on a low FODMAP diet, and soy sauce is one of them. Edamame is also one of them. So don't be too afraid of soy. Okay, so I've got a nice mashed avocado in here. And I'm just going to get my salmon. All right. So easy. I don't know if salmon comes in small cans. Can't remember if I've ever seen it in a small can, but I like these little packets. Okay. And you also don't have to squeeze out the liquid because there really isn't much in there. Okay. And I'm gonna mix that up. I'm also gonna add a little bit of olive oil too for so many good heart healthy fats in here. Okay. Avocado, olive oil. Okay. this. You could also use tamari there. This is coming together nicely. I'm going to garnish it with some scallions and some sesame seeds. That's going to be nice. Do a little bit of black pepper with the soy sauce that I put in. I don't think I'm going to add any additional salt because I think that's enough. Okay. Salmon salad. Gonna chop up the scallions real quick. Oh, I forgot to mention, scallions. Did you know if you plop these in the water, stick in a jar, and then stick them in the windowsill, they will regrow. So you don't have to rebuy scallions. All right, give these a chop. Another way to get around the lack of garlic in particular is on the low FODMAP diet. You can do garlic infused olive oil, so that gives you some of that flavor without using the actual garlic, which is nice. Okay, got our scallions ready to go. Next is our dipping sauce. Yummy. Is going to be a kind of a nut butter based dipping sauce. Yum. I love peanut noodles, peanut sauces, and Asian cooking. So we've got 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Can definitely do almond butter here. I'm gonna add a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of lime juice, teaspoon of ground ginger, teaspoon of brown sugar, and a healthy dose of red pepper flakes. I like it spicy. Recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon. It's up to you. All right, just gonna take a fork and whisk this together. That peanut butter. Alrighty. Now, something you can do is do this over the stove, just to give it even more cohesive. That peanut butter is going to melt a little bit more, but this is coming together just fine. I like the peanut butter that's just nuts, so no salt, no nothing, so that I can kind of control what I use it for. Okay. Yum. Okay, we got that nice creamy sauce. This peanut butter, soy sauce, ginger, lime juice, something spicy. I use it a lot for peanut noodles, so that can be a really yummy meal. And it's nice for something that you can eat cold. So if you don't have a microwave at work, or you don't want to use a microwave at work, peanut noodles are kind of a nice cold pasta salad dish. All right, so I'm gonna grab this. So I got one of those hydroponic bib lettuce packs at the grocery store. I threw some fruit on here just to have with the meal. And you're gonna take, I like the big lettuce leaves on the edges, are nice for these cups. And you're gonna spoon some in here. All right, perfect. Okay, just like that. And a little bit of garnish, some scallions, and we're gonna do some sesame seeds. Yummy. This looks so good. All right, like I said, these recipes are on our blog. This one is our low FODMAP lunches, which went up yesterday. So it's easy to find. You can just go onto our main page and scroll down. Our last 3 blogs that got posted are on there. Or you can always just in the search bar search low FODMAP, and you should get our low FODMAP lunches, dinners, breakfasts, and snacks. We're all about the low FODMAP. You can go to our recipe page and search by your concerns, conditions, health needs. So there's a lot of resources on our website. So instead of dipping, I'm just gonna drizzle that on. Now it sounds kind of weird, salmon and peanut butter, but hey, don't knock it till you try it. All right, here we go. And there's our salmon salad lettuce wraps. Okay, yummy. All right, so those are 2 delicious anti-inflammatory low FODMAP lunches for you to try. But our digestive dietitians are available to help you meal plan, help you problem solve, help improve your symptoms so that you don't feel like you're on a low FODMAP diet forever. That's not what it's intended for. But you can also find some relief from those symptoms that you're experiencing. Next month, I'll be live again. Theme for next month is actually gonna be blood sugar management. So if you're struggling with your blood sugar, not necessarily from diabetes, that's definitely the big one, but also maybe you're having migraines, or maybe you have PCOS, or those are the main ones, insulin resistance, anything like that, we're gonna be talking about next month. So let us know if you have any questions about that, and I'll be sure to go over that. So I hope everyone has a good week. Another week of quarantine. I hope everyone's staying well. And let us know if you have any questions about the low FODMAP diet. Thanks, guys.